My name is Nia McAllister, and I'm the Visitor Experience Manager at MOAD in San Francisco. And I'm so excited to be gathering with all of you this evening. This is actually our last open mic of 2020, which is very exciting to round out the year in this space with all of you. And so before we dive in to getting to hear from all of our wonderful performers this evening, I want to kind of set the stage and acknowledge the times that we're living in. So MOAD stands in solidarity with Black Lives Matter as there are multiple pandemics killing us, including the ongoing systemic violence against Black people. We honor and mourn the senseless murders of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, Tony McDade, Jonathan Price, Casey Goodson Jr., Benny Edwards, and so many others who have lost their lives at the hands of police brutality and racial injustice, including those whose names we do not know. We want to acknowledge that as this list of names continues to grow, we will continue to say them and continue to bring awareness in the fight for real justice for the global Black community. I also want to acknowledge the spaces that we're occupying. Though we're gathered virtually, many of us are settlers, immigrants, or descendants of those forcibly brought to this continent. And our institutions were founded upon exclusions and erasures of the indigenous peoples whose lands we're located on. It is with deep respect that MOAD acknowledges that even in a virtual space, our people, our work, and our network servers are all on Native lands. And we thank the indigenous peoples of the Bay Area and beyond who've stewarded this land throughout the generations. And so we know that 2020 has been such a tumultuous year for all of us. And so I found that in creating this space, it's really a safe space for us to recognize our grief, our anger, our exhaustion, but also to seek comfort and joy in each other's company. And so everyone is welcome in this space, and it is of the utmost importance that we continue to center respect and also create spaces to amplify Black voices. And so for those who are new and those returning to this space, I'll just kind of give an overview of the flow of the event. So we'll begin with the first half of our open mic readers. Each reader tonight will have 4 minutes to share. So please respect everyone's time in this space and keep within that amount of time. I'll read each person's name off beforehand, an introduction of each performer. If for some reason someone is not in the room when I call their name, but they join later, we'll circle back to make sure that they get added back into the lineup. Those who are confirmed for the lineup today should have gotten an email earlier with the lineup. We may have slightly shifted. Things are always changing, people's schedules change. So I'll make sure to put the final lineup in the chat right before we begin. So then midway through the event, we'll have our wonderful feature, Tayleur Crenshaw, sharing, and then we'll close out the event with the remaining open mic readers. And before we jump in, I would also like to thank Art Bridges for their generous support. They've helped sustain a lot of our dynamic programming that we've had at MOAD. And for all of those of you who are in the audience listening and supporting, I do encourage you to use the chat features, the reactions, to really affirm all of our performers this evening. It's a very vulnerable thing, being even in a virtual space, sharing your work. And so I encourage everyone, though we can't, verbally affirm each other, it's not a physical space where we can be, cheering each other on, but I do encourage you to find a way to support each other through the chat and through the reactions. And so with that, I think those are all the housekeeping things. And I would like to invite our first performer up to the stage, Sylvia Balak. Welcome up, Sylvia.
Hi, my second time here. Before I start, I would like to say congratulations. She was here last week. Kim B. Miller released her book a few days ago, and that African-American woman is the #1 book on Japanese poetry and haiku on Amazon. And I'm pretty sure that's a first for them. And so I'm very proud of her. And I'm going to start with, this is out of my book, Uprising, a book of poetry. And the name of this piece is Queendom. Queens. I don't know if anyone has told you, But that new style you're wearing, whew, you look gorgeous. All resplendent as can be, all wrapped up in poetry. Spirit so bright, you're blinding. I see your inner light shining out loud and on purpose for all to see. Well, sister, you're looking good. Well, at least to me, because I see you in my third eye view, smiling from my screen to thine own self true. If I'm not in touch, I haven't forgot you. I'm laying a foundation to better be about you. The struggle is as real as I agree to let it be. That goes for you as much as for me. I'm sending you love and heartfelt admiration to those brave queens across the nation, spreading ink across the nation, indigo rivers from sea to shining sea, to those afraid of spitting at and those who feel like quitting at. Please know that I'm feeling that. Sometimes the battle takes all you have, and sometimes it seems like everybody has more than you have. Your burden blocks the view of your path. You want to cry so bad you can barely laugh. Your dip into success has turned bloodbath. Doubt is on you like a psychopath. The mirror is tricky when it catches the light. Something about the reflecting is not quite right. Your aura casts no reflection, so you never get to see just how much you glow. That the world feeds on your essence and you really don't know. The brighter you get, the more that they cling, doing their best to get a taste of that thing. The shine in your eye, that beat that you walk to. You're so close to God, He's a friend that you talk to. Often simulated, never quite duplicated, secretly worshiped and openly hated. But I know you are the lights, the runway, and the show. Sister, you go. And that's that piece. The second piece I wrote last week before last. And it comes from having a background of doing my own braids. And basically, my idea of success looks differently than some. And the name of this is Stretch and Breathe. One day, I want to sit on my porch in a big Adirondack swing and give my braids a little touch up. Drinking ginger lemonade in an easy kind of shade, I want to walk barefoot on my land and be able to give a hand when I can. Soft clinking of a wind chime way up high and an airbrushed sky. Safe people on Southwest fly on by. And speaking of high, I go back in rolling up a little friend and grab a cushion and the wine and just unwind. Purring in my spirit, pulling my fingers through my own hair and how I need it. I stretch my arms and then my legs, the longest toke on my greatest high. I French inhale my California sky. A secret twist, first left, then right, aligns my back so it's just right. Wearing clothes that move with the wind of my wake, a vision of the ethereal I must surely make. Shea butter, combs, extra water, spoken word to keep me company before turning my braiding hands loose on me. What's singing in me is pure and drama free. The world rages outside, but in here it's real quiet. No need to really hide, just turning real loose here on the inside. High ride, giving a thought to being selfish. After a lifetime of being selfless, I must now confess COVID got me cautious and rightly so. Everybody asking it to smooth out, no. Hiding in the ruins of the world that used to be the elusive Black joy that I knew was meant for me. Shooting magic from fingertip to soul. As goddess, as my witness, I have finally come to see that my spirit can use all of my senses to express the joy of just being true to me. Extension braiding, and at last I am adorned in craft and crowned. Speaking of crown, the purple bag that holds the stash is buried under unused hair. I ride the wave of halfway there. Peace prevails in this big swinging chair, and I breathe and stretch and breathe, and I move with the sway. That's a piece. Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. Both of those pieces were wonderful, and it's so nice having your energy in the space. I'm so glad this is your second time here, and hope that you continue coming. Thank you. Next up to the mic, I'd like to invite Yusuf Salaam. Welcome back, Yusuf.
Can you hear me?
It's cutting in and out a little bit. Yeah, the sound's still
Can
breaking.
you hear me?
I can hear you, but the sound's still breaking up for us.
Sometimes if you turn off your video, it helps.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy. What about now?
It still sounds like you're talking in slow motion a little bit.
No good.
Did you try turning your camera off?
Oh, boy. Okay, ask me about me to look up today. Yeah. Oh, well.
Yusuf, do you mind if we circle back to you so that maybe we can have a better connection so we can hear your words? Yusuf, I'm going to have the next reader go, and then I'll make sure that we have you back in the lineup when your sound's working. So for now, I'd like to invite Lorraine Bonner up to the mic. Lorraine, welcome up.
Okay, yes. All right, am I coming through? Okay. I want to do a little shout out to the BIPOC writer group and Sandra Phillips for the prompt which gave me this poem. This is called Ancestor Poem. The sisters love the ancestors, call their names and pour out water and rum. They love Dia de los Muertos because they love to build ofrendas. I don't build ofrendas. I don't want the ancestors to come. Nature, nurture the ancestors of my ancestors, of my father, of my mother. How could I trust any of them? People say they gave you life. You should honor them for that. They don't know in a life spent longing for death, how the days I wanted to live are like tiny islands in the sea. It's true I feel uneasy, drifting, as if dropped without a backstory into a movie I have never seen. The camera rolls on, takes me down a wet path through ancient trees. I see a figure crouched in shadow at the riverbank, lifting deep brown mud, squeezing out the water, caressing the plain. The camera shifts. I am in her hands. I feel her shaping me. The camera shifts again, and I am the shaper. I press a neck into your form. Shift again, and I am in your hands on this floor. Now, head and body, I know myself. I kiss your face, your eyes and mouth in rage. You kiss my face. I see your eyes. You are made of night and stars. You are made of earth and water. I touch your heart. I feel pain, and the secret of feeling rushed down my arms to my hands, which I have shaped just to hold this with. I create your womb, plant PP. You create my womb. I am carrying twins. This one I name Esperanza. This one I name Cassandra, Hope and the Prophet of Doom. I form your legs, they are of the river. My legs are of the river, I can't be still. I climb down from your hands and run. I release you from my hand, you are running away. My feet form the path as I run. I watch you disappear into the dark forest. Already you have forgotten, but see these wet footprints. That's it.
Great. Thank you so much, Lorraine. And thank you also for the shout out for the BIPOC Writers Group. I know several folks who are in that, and I think that's a great resource. So thank you. Next up, I would like to invite Melissa Noel. Welcome back, Melissa.
Hey, it's good to be back. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
All right, beautiful. And everybody, I'm just honored, as always, to be with you. So there's a couple of pieces I want to do. And the first one is an excerpt from a longer piece, but I just wanted to just kind of bless you with a portion of it. And the title of it is Dear America. Dear America, the dream continues. The trees are still speaking. The soil is still rejoicing. The stones are still turning as you stand in awe. Paused on black hills, cradled in crazy horse clans of the powerful Lakota land. Embellished by the industrialized world, hemming from the tranquilization of the Great Depression or all the Watergates we have yet to recover from. Remember us, the Navajo that saved you in World War II. Remember us, Bolivia, Peru, Panama, Ecuador, Colombia, and every indigenous that has shouted down the canals of determination as to why Columbus must die. Remember us, we who sing nostalgic songs of our royal lineage, entangled by the drums, hidden on the middle passage, roots drowned in lyrical licorice of jazz and blues, funk from zydeco love notes of lost and washboard melodies of courage. Sing us a song of strange fruit, cupcaked in white only fountains, picture us of we shall overcome someday. You who slaughtered the angels. How much longer should we wait to cast ballots? How much longer will you pay us less because of the color of our skin? How much longer will it take for your offspring to realize that they don't own Blackness and never did? Instead, we watch nightmarish ballistic Black battles of territories unclaimed, bamboozled and befuddled in messiness of crabs in a barrel. Mentalities of coloration of whose skin is more in than the other, witnessing astronomical numbers of COVID-19 demolishing urban communities. As we flee from color to Negro to Afro to Black to African American and Blackish again, our tongues woven in prayer, haunted by borders of our fingers touching in love, like unflinching fossilized asphalts of sinew and blood. Yeah, America. Thank you. All right, one more. And this one is a dedication piece. It's in dedication to a very powerful woman, like many of you, Vice President-elect Harris and her beautiful, beautiful spirit. And the title is Just Like Me. Young women of color around the world are inspired by a woman who looks just like them. Like me, her name means lotus, goddess, Lakshmi. Like me, skin brown, eyes brown, tone brown, all brown like me. Like me, back in the day, she lived in a yellow stucco house in the East Bay, Oakland, San Francisco, Berkeley Flats, Midwest, Montreal, Howard University. The child of immigrant academics who divorced when she was young. Shyamala Gopalan, a cancer researcher from India, the Brahmin daughter of a diplomat from Chennai, graduated from the University of Delhi at 19. Donald Harris from Jamaica, Stanford faculty with an economics PhD. Kamala's mother taught her how to fight for justice and pave a path for others, like me. Former Alameda County prosecutor, elected district attorney of San Francisco, the first woman and the first person of color to hold that position. The first sister who looks just like me, elected to the Senate, was Carol Moseley Braun in the year 1992, a Democrat from Illinois. The second was Kamala Devi Harris in the year 2016, but she was also the first South Asian senator. Well known for being the fierce junior senator from California with captivating performances on the Senate Judiciary Committee, just as Judge Brett Kavanaugh or Attorney General William Barr. Kamala, like me. Not only sisters, but close friends, Maya and Kamala converting unused courtyards to run in a presidential election campaign together, always together, both advocating for civil rights and justice like me. For these are the truths we hold. Now another generation is on the verge with their beloved Mina and her two daughters, a phenomenal woman with big ideas, just like me. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much for both of those pieces and that tribute to the Bay and also your other piece. It's always wonderful to hear your work.
Thank you.
Next up, I would like to invite Avacha to the mic. Welcome, Avacha.
Hey, family. It's good to be here and hear all these beautiful words. I have two. The first one is a short one, both in English and Spanish. And it's called Obsesionada. I'll do the English part first. Righteous poetic word, speak to me like the wind. Caress me like the dawn, wake my soul with song. Please, hear me please, muse of creativity. What I need is a feast. A royal banquet alive with metaphors and thousands of rhythmic poems. Divine musical word, I'm an insatiable fanatic. In any language, poetry wraps me in its spell. I'm completely obsessed, incredibly hungry, and I want a meal that turns me on, a gigantic soup of words, a spice-filled stew of poetry and rhythm, a flavor that eats concrete and gives birth to an army of poets. Obsesionada. Santa palabra poética, háblame como el viento, acaríciame como el amanecer, despierta el alma con canto, ay, escúchame. Mucho de creatividad, lo que necesito es un banquete real lleno de metáfora y miles de poemas rítmicos, santa palabra musical. Soy una fanática insaciable, poesía en cualquier idioma, me encanta, obsesionada estoy. Tengo un hambre increíble y quiero una comida que me espera, una gran sopa de palabras, un guisado de poesía y clave, un sabor que come el cemento y dará luz a batallón de poetas. This next poem is called Elixir of Nzinga. For those who don't know, there were two Queen Nzingas, and so, but I think both are going to apply both of them. It's about Black women's tears. We get real dangerous when we start crying, so. Armies sailed oceans, riding inside the indescribable waves of my uncontrollable tears. My tears transplanted African tears, the spice that put the soul in soul food, the inescapable key, our spiritual fuel, the diet that fired up Chief Osceola, caused the Seminole Wars, legalized slave traders, stealing his wife was the real reason, stealing his soulmate, his woman, the final straw. It was my tears. I said it was my tears, fed hundreds of invisible conductors, On the ever-moving Underground Railroad, from quiet Quakers to the loud fervor of John Brown to the proud, invincible determination of that beautiful no-quitting sister Harriet Tubman, my African tears fed on ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, swallowed and digested and converted all that pain, that terrible weight, that inhumane burden, that hole in my soul. The secret of our heat and our cool when society's stone cold, strong healing strong healing waters and Zinga's elixir, stronger than dread, put a damper on the handcuffs of fear and cleansed and freed our hearts and fed our souls from Suriname to Trinidad to Curaçao. There ain't no stopping us now, Mississippi. Fuel Jamaica's Granny Nanny, El Negro Falucho in Argentina, Colombia's Bencos Viejo in De Palenque, and Haiti's Toussaint Louverture. We swam through hell on that ocean of tears. At times the sorrow so loud, even the night screamed and the clouds cried and the rain fell down from the sky red with blood. These tears have irrigated millions of acres of cotton, coffee, yucca, breadfruit, and sugarcane. They've seasoned your grandma's greens, Titi's finger-licking lechon, and Uncle Lalo's curried shrimp. They were in the sweet taste of flan and kalaloo, at every piece of coconut bread and all the wheat that you eat. These tears have followed you from the favelas in Brazil to Haiti's lavalas, fertilized the anger hidden behind the tired smiles, and every hour, every after hour, juke joint cantinas del solar and Bob Marley's mysticism. In Estebanika's so-called discoveries and Beethoven's remarkable symphonies, La Bomba Borinqueña de Rafael Cepeda and the deceptive revelry of Batucada and Mardi Gras, ain't no secret. David Walker Dandara and Zumbi of Palmadas got drunk on my tears. I say it was my tears that quenched the furious thirst of Nat Turner and put the power behind all those funny jokes, comedy, a costume, a disguise, a clever shield, the acceptable watery mask of Moms Mabley and Richard Pryor, and Zinga's elixir, a transplanted medicine, a metaphysical ladder. These tears lifted our souls, lubricated the throats of Marcus Garvey and Fannie Lou Hamer, energized the creative will of Arturo Schoenberg, and the Schoenberg Museum grew up on the hard-earned root, on the foundation of historical bricks formed by years of tears, and Zinga's elixir, our tears, our sacred tears. Wherever we go, we have taken you with us each and every day. Each and every day, every stitch of my clothes is wet with my crying for you. You are our soul food, the key to our mystique. You are our fuel, Africa. You have covered the whole world, swimming in our tears, singing and dancing and praying and laughing in our tears. But I wonder, mama, Africa, have you ever, will you ever cry for us? Sometimes I feel like I was just a motherless child, a long, long, long way from home. Lord, it's a long way from my home. Thanks for listening to my words. I put our poetry series in the chat. I'll put it in there again. And that poem that you just heard is from my book, With Every Step I Take. Please check it out. And please come to our poetry series. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Avacha. It's always like magic to hear your poetry and your song and your words every time. And please, everyone, support her open mic series as well. It's an excellent gathering of extremely talented artists, musicians, and poets. Thank you, Avacha.
Thank you.
I would like to invite back up Yusuf Salaam. Let's go round two. Can you try speaking to see if the sound's coming through? Oh, I see you talking, but I can't hear anything. It may be that the audio didn't connect. We may have to try circling back a little bit later on, but we'll try again in the second half. Thanks for your patience. I would like to invite up Teju Adisa Farrar up to the mic. Teju was our wonderful feature 2 weeks ago, so I'm very excited to have you back. Welcome.
Happy to be back. I'm going to share one poem, which is actually an experiment from a larger idea I have. All the phrases and sentences come from news articles and reports about Black women being killed by the police between 1991 and 2020. And so I collected several of these phrases and sentences and made a poem called If They Speak of Us. Before Christmas, they called her behavior bizarre. They said she was threatening, talking crazy. They said they killed her after rescuing her son. They should not attempt to revive the woman. She dreamed, noticing the flashing lights, a woman determined, 5 shots, love was a Black woman holding a knife. Officer is cleared in shooting during arrest. The police officer strangled her to death. They claimed to see her swallowing drugs. The absence of drugs in her system was confirmed by an autopsy, pumping 23 shots at Taisha, 12 of which hit her body. To them, there was no evidence they loved. To them, the shooting was ruled justified. They said there were tactical errors that led to the shooting. The bullet hit Kendra James in the hip, traveled up to her lower rib cage and killed her. The officers who shot were both white. Love was hit 8 times. 9 days after, a pregnant woman was shot dead by a police officer. There were protests. Is under investigation and interpretation and may never be indefinitely resolved. Anguish and questions. United States Court of Appeals, 7th Circuit. I regret that loss of life. A 55-year-old woman died. She refused. She refused to stop and started walking rapidly. What happened at 4:15 p.m., May 21st, 1999, at La Brea and 4th Street is a tragedy. Instinctively and simultaneously, both officers drew. She refused. She had fallen asleep in the idling car. She was at a South Side store with her children. At the time of her death, she was a 47-year-old trans woman. She died at 7:50 a.m. before going to work. She was shot in her home. They didn't have to shoot that girl. They think everything's a gun. These things happen all too often. In grieving police system failure, a woman killed by police gunfire had her hands in the air. A 92-year-old woman was killed. He put his pistol to her head and yelled, "Victim found dead." Police officers threw a concussion grenade into her apartment. They were under pressure to meet quotas for arrests and warrants, and another officer who admitted to extortion. The officers went out to dinner the night after the shooting. Internal Affairs did not recommend punishment beyond a verbal reprimand. The videotaped beating of a transgender woman, a Black woman, just long enough for her to protect herself. Police shooting of mother and infant exposes avoidable tragedy. The iceberg is the lack of accountability. Unarmed woman and baby. She shared her story. Isolated incidents. It's a shame. The entire incident suspended the use of grenades. She died 2 days after the result of traumatic blows. Nobody got hurt that day but her. At the conclusion of a standoff, police officers shot her with several weapons, including an AR-15 assault rifle, an alleged shoplifting incident. Untold story of Haggerty shooting. A new memorial site was placed there. There was no justice for Duana Johnson in this life. I'm getting out. I'm getting out. Combine this disturbing trend with a concurrent shift, testimony. We could begin to rebuild the broken trust. Added fuel to the fire. She received a wound to her chest. I can no longer remain silent. She showed us what love should be about. Armed with a pair of scissors, I want justice and we want answers. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much for that piece. I'm always impressed and inspired by pieces that are put together by fragments of other sources, and I think you did that incredibly and speak to a very relevant issue that still continues. So thank you. So I'm going to share a couple poems and then introduce our feature for this evening. And so I think at the beginning of tonight's open mic, a few of us were talking about new pieces and how recently I've been able to come up with new writing or not. I've been having trouble coming up with inspiration and have been in somewhat of a writer's block. So I'm going to share an older piece from a couple years ago and then the most recent piece that I've written. So this first piece was written back when we could be outside and gather in physical places. Don't date an eavesdropper if you've forgotten the value of storytelling. Some of us find hobby in knowing perhaps too much. Can you blame the voracious listener? If you are like me, you know coffee shops make the best hideouts for all the words on the tip of your tongue. And if you're thinking hard enough, you'll recognize that I too am a collection of fragments, nothing less. See, in my first life, pit stop was synonym for street corner protest. In this life, we rehearse all the prologues that make us fall in love. And tomorrow, you will tell me that dead ends don't always reveal themselves at the beginning. I will turn to you and say, baby, are you revolution? If you are like me, you know coffee shops make the best hideouts for all the words we recall too late. It's no wonder that homebodies like me seek comfort in oversteeped teacups, safety and nostalgia. Remembrance is the child of reluctant goodbyes. And déjà vu is just a funny way of saying, I will remember you forever. And now this most recent piece. So in this train of thought of fragments, this piece is combined by random lines that I've written over the last several months. Again, the motivation and the spark that I usually have with new pieces hasn't been here recently. And so this collection of fragments is my most recent poem. It's entitled A History of Bones Talking Out the Side of Their Neck. What I know to be true is I am buried beneath a bougainvillea bush. For all I know, my sibling could be the very earth I lie in. My first lifeline is now somebody else's food. It is 2:34 a.m. in the town that birthed you 103 years ago. It is 40 degrees Fahrenheit in that same town that ran your mother out. Sundown in any other place would be beautiful. My memories sleep in two separate rooms. They argue about pickup lines through the wall in my childhood closet. What came first, the mask or the martyr? The forgetting begins 2 steps before the dream wakes up. The virus arrives as a door knocker. I watch erosion from afar. I suppose it's common for oceans to make arches of the rock. I'm coming to tell you we have been here before. I'm coming to tell you that one day you will be the oldest generation. I'm coming to tell you this poem is the last place they will look for you. I'm coming to tell you the revolution will come with water. I tell you, I am coming. Thank you. And so I hope that I will have some new inspiration to share with all of you in the new year at our next open mic. But it is now time for me to introduce our feature for this evening. We're very lucky to have Tayleur Crenshaw with us. Though Tayleur has written stories and poetry her entire life, she has never considered herself to be a writer. What she did know was that she loved seeing her people thrive and being in spaces that inspired her. As fate would have it, those two things became what eventually developed her career as a writer and poet and co-founder of Gold Beams. Through Gold Beams, Tayleur curates amazing events, programming, and productions for Black creatives and her Black community at large. As a writer and poet, Tayleur shares her art internationally and teaches art in schools and youth programs. Tayleur is also a New York native and Howard alumna. Her ultimate goal is to love on Black people and support their wildest dreams. Welcome, Tayleur. Hello, everyone. How are you? I'm going to ask you to do something before I dive a little deeper. One, I said hi, so y'all got to say hi back. So please type in hi in the chat.
Hi.
Hi.
What's up?
And then
Hey,
also,
Moo, hi.
hey, Sylvia. And then also, if you could just give me a wave with the emoji on the Zoom. Now, the reason I ask this is that I see that you guys know how to use the chat. And so I want you to tell me if it'll be okay for you guys to hear me curse a little bit, a lot of bit in my pieces. And if not, I can respect that and I have some other pieces to share. But yeah, you'll get to know me as a huge artist. So let me know yay or nay, how you feeling about me talking a lot of shit. Thank you. So my life story, grew up, was alive on this earth in Westchester, New York. And everybody asks me like where Westchester is. It's not by Canada. It's literally right over the Bronx. I transitioned into living in DC, and it was crazy because both New York and DC has such like a beautiful Black culture, energy, like vibe. I grew up in Blackness, so beautiful. In Howard, I focused on marketing. I really wanted to make the billboards that you see riding when you drive down the highway. And then that was before Instagram. Did that, moved to California to work at Banana Republic corporately to be in fashion, hated it. It was not conducive to Blackness. And decided to do something by myself. Like I had these ideas about what Black artists and Black creatives like and the vibe, and I started having events that worked out. When it comes to writing, my first major piece was called Am I Crazy? And it was like my rant. It's how I got things out. And so you're gonna hear a lot of that with these pieces. Let me see what y'all wrote about the cursing. I feel like we're gonna get the go. So my first piece is called Cocky, and it dives into how I can talk shit, how I can feel beautiful in my power, how I can express the things that I want to say in arguments or like at work or wherever. Like I'm saying whatever I want and I feel good about it. If anything, I feel cocky about it. So this is my first piece, Cocky. And then we're going to go into my positive note. Okay. Regardless if I'm playing chess or checkers, once this pawn reaches the top, you gotta king me. Hit me on my car phone, I'm headed down the road. San Francisco got white men letting out their inner Black woman like, whoa, and still giving too much ego. But I'm not mad at them or what my dad did or what he said he would. They gave me the ammo to make my rhyme so good. They say, Tail, is that your alter ego? I say, nah, it's me too, bitch. Then I get the pen and the paper gets me too, bitch. I carry your weight with grace. My body covered in 1,000 lashes. I take responsibility for the drip. Throw a little bit of gold in a page. I got the iPhone ready on a clip on my hip. I need one for the road. I'm a thought. Give me lit. I'm looking for a brilliant nigga like Channel Trace who want a brilliant bitch like St. John. Kanye back in 05 with the Louis luggage and the St. Laurent. Hot girl my whole life, whether I was driving the boat, backing that thing up or calling a John. I told you this pawn is ready to be king. And the Ferrari or Jaguar switching 4 lanes, I gotta get it where I gotta go where I'm trying to go quickly. Your girl is out here doing her thing. Niggas try to fuck with me, end up fucking with the gang. That's right, I'm pulling cards and I'm decking niggas. I'm not respecting niggas. I hot spit right at you niggas. Let a nigga try me. I got more anger than a fucking rally. I'm here to service your scalp and I ain't talking Sally's. Bitch, I'm bomb. I'm already laced up. That's why you catch me with the slip-ons.
Plus, I make MySpaces for friends. You can call me Tom, and I do it with my hiatus coyotes or alone on my napalm. However you want it, you can watch me do it with the lights on. I keep a Beyonce face and stay Pharrell humble. Little do you know I got the horses in the back. I stay ready to rumble. Cause every day a nigga try to test me, yuck. Every day a nigga try to end me, Too bad I'm on my shit, period. Titties getting hefty. For those who ask me how I get to where I'm trying to go, that's pure intuition. It's muscle memory, it speaks for my soul. Plus I'm fly and I trap niggas like Venus. I hit back, make bitches hurt like Serena's. I bitty bitty bum bum two-step and curve you niggas like Selena's. My homies drunk off that juice, a couple things on them. That dudes don't wait on them. They might shoot. They roll up with the pounds on them like they was Bruce. I got the spice and the poppy say, baby, I like it like that. Wordplay make a nigga want to put me on the track, tomboy, but they still want to lay me on my back. So I schedule niggas like Deuce Bigelow to put the green on my body like my name was Piccolo. These niggas chasing nine tails and foxes like they was Naruto, but it's cool though. Mommy's still cute though. I'm a city girl, I stay talking on my culo. Thought I was done, I'm Smino. That means I'm maestro with my finger rolls. Niggas out here hate white people, but they hoes got bleach skin, that they bleach blonde. That syndrome is Stockholm. Black women, you are not alone. Just get on the mic and talk your shit. I'm not here to judge you, sis. I won't undermine you or tell you you're wrong. I'ma dance to all the lines in your hot girl song. Regardless if you like to go hard or soft, be like me, take upon yourself and cut them off. Even if shit may get a little rocky, I feel you. Sometimes it feel like everybody trying to stop me. Remember, you've been running uphill. You got the endurance to be cocky. So that was my first piece. Thank you. I have two pieces left, and one is a lot more sweeter, and it's called My Positive Note. So like I said, like my first time performing, like it just felt like I could get everything that I wanted to say out without bonds. But then I noticed it was all like very, I could write out of rage, but could I write about something sweet? I didn't know. So I was like, all right, let me try. And so now we have My Positive Note. And it's cute because it ends with a positive note. Okay. And it also feels a lot more like comfortable, like talking my shit than it does talking sweet. So it's gonna be like sweet voice. Wow, weird. Okay. The way his body gave into me, you would think it was photosynthesis. Looking at him in the sun was like seeing the sunset in the hood. Nostalgic like my childhood. Pink and gold, the sun kisses house after house goodnight. And God shows me the way in those lit streets. And that day, he was Super Saiyan. God showed me the way when he shined light onto my baby. They helped me to see my baby in the dark of night by teaching me how to catch his eyes. We breathe air, big belly rolls of air like crashing waves. We bump into each other laughing at corny jokes. I like holding you. You make me forget to rhyme in my own spoken word. So easily you reframe my world like that. I rub against him like I was trying to go through him. I Easter time all over my baby. Being with him makes me end my poems on a positive note. And if you know me, you know that's a major thing. My sunflower waves from his thoughts seep out of his head, crowning, illuminating, and framing his face. I love you so much, I want to go back in time, hold you as a child and care for you. I want to erase all the things that made you sad. Thank you for changing my ending, my positive note. Yeah, so that was me being sweet or whatever. Up next, and my last piece, and if you like, I could do another one, is called You're Gonna Make This Black Woman a God. And so again, with my writing, you're getting a lot of different sides of me. You're getting like my Issa Rae in the mirror. You're getting the sweet side that like comes out on Groundhog Day or February 29th. And now you're gonna get this activism, political side of me, especially when it comes to Black women and all the weight that alone carries. And so this piece is called "You're Gonna Make This Black Woman a God." You probably know. If you know me, you probably heard me perform this. But it's about, you hear very often like Black women is God, Black women are God. But then you think about it, who wants all of that weight and responsibility for free for you to just like in your life after? Like who wants to be a God? So that's where I came from with writing this piece. And again, this is called "You're Gonna Make This Black Woman a God." Black women are God, but look at the history. Gods are always the bigger person. They say they love you instead of look at what you did to me. Black woman is God. I thank you for the acknowledgement. At first, I felt the title wasn't fitting, but now I understand why it's appropriate. Let's go down the agenda. We give all the hails to our Black mothers like Mary, but when they get pregnant, we treat her more like Brenda. You are gonna make this Black woman a God. God was born into a teenage womb, not royalty. Had a bunch of men claim to be down, but had to give his life to get the loyalty. You are gonna make this Black woman a God and not document her childhood. Even if you read it, you wouldn't believe that. You rather spend all day calling us stronger, downing us for wearing weave caps. We're looking for 3 wise men to show us the stars. Y'all directing us to where the Kardashians be at. You are gonna make this Black woman a God. We've been nurturing y'all since birth. And you could be certain that when Jesus was coming out of the belly, he was a baby, but he was still making sure that Mary wasn't hurt. And ever since then, it was his job to be caring for and healing the broken. Who could be strong for Jesus? Even his father was out there lurking, making sure other folks were pampered. Jesus was in Pampers, knowing that he was special and still had work to do. I wonder if you have a question, was he helping people or were they using you? You are gonna make this Black woman a God. Bring her to the store with $5. She got unlimited wine and bread to feed the neighborhood mothers, children, and fathers. Have a crew of 12 men claiming that they will bear their arms up, knowing all along you will be alone going through parts that were the hardest. Black women are gods. We love you even when we know you betray us. We're used to being alone in the dark. That's why we were still fighting for Clark, even Stephon Clark, even after we found the tweets. I don't want nothing black but an Xbox. Dark bitches bring dark days. I don't want no Black baby. I'm already Black. I don't need no Black baby. While we're here getting whelps on our backs to mourn your death, we are dying and fighting knowing that there's plenty, and you will still tell us you ain't got nothing left. We probably won't survive this time. ASAP couldn't relate to Ferguson after Sweden because he survived this time. You are gonna make this Black woman a God. We're on the cross now. It was easy to achieve. Y'all niggas like to hang us out there with the gangsters, robbers, and the thieves. Blood dripping on the floor while we take the blame for the world's insanity. We're screaming out for our fathers like, why, God, have you forsaken me? You are gonna make this Black woman a God. Even Hercules had to fight to be a family with his own father. You worship us like Nefertiti, but only if you whitewash us on TV. This Black woman is God. And you treat her just like that. Ain't no 3 strikes over here just praying. We forgive that. This Black woman is a God. You may worship her temple on Sundays where you will find women who serving men who claim to hold the gateway to heaven. We still nurse men and children. We still forgive you for the sins that you live in. Black woman is God because you treat us like such. Amen. So that's my third piece. Yeah, that's me. I'm gonna put, I could always share more. I want to be conscious of time. Let me know, Nia. And then if not, I'm gonna leave my contact information, my gram, so y'all can scroll, the organization that I founded, and the dope events and content and all the things that we create on Go Beams, for Go Beams. Yeah, thank you for this opportunity, Nia.
Thank you so much, Taylor. If you have one piece you want to close us out with, you're welcome. You're welcome to do so. I'm so glad you put all the information in the chat. I was going to ask you to share that for folks so that they can keep supporting you. But if you have one more and want to close out with that, you're welcome to.
All right. So this one is called A Poem for Mama. Similar way to the last poem, where I realized that I'm very hard on my mother. I'm very hard on her. And she definitely doesn't deserve it. She said, Tail, one day, like, do you know what I've done for you? And so, like, me getting mad at smaller things and then not knowing her story, not only as a mother, but as a Black woman, and, you know, me arguing with her, I don't want to clean up and all of these things, like, but not knowing that every day, like, she's just, earth is just happening. So I wrote this poem, A Poem for Mama, because it's a song for mama is like a tribute, and this one is showing kind of like the underhand of that mothers get. A poem for mama. When I fuck with these hoes, I give them what they want until they say they don't want me no more. That's how I grew up. I did the hard things for myself. I did the hard things for the people around me. I'm strong now. I got these bags all on me, grocery bags, laundry bags, emotional bags, waiting for the bags of the money. I look at the world and think something ain't right about this, nigga. I'm Dick Gregory. This world is crazy. It made me spicy. I don't ask the Lord if there's a heaven. I say, God, there better be. Mommies have to practice forgiveness because even the niggas who abandoned them got a sob story. Even the niggas that abused us got a trauma story. Too many got their own mama story. They come up with them bags that not only do I carry, I unpack, wash that, hang them up, and after cutting the tags. And I be feeling like Mother Earth and the people, they come up to me like, Mama, can I get $1? Mama, he hit me. Mama, can you help me? Mama, I hate you. Dear Mama, she did everything for me, but still got mommy issues. Daddy didn't give a fuck about me. Still my trouble stemming from these mommy issues. But I yearn for my daddy and I'm over my moms. I'm waiting for my daddy to come back home while I tell my mommy to leave me alone. Y'all know how many times I died by you? My father was every nigga in the 90s gangster movies. My fathers were every nigga in the Uchi Wally video. All my fathers, they taught me how to fight. They left me in pins by myself. My fathers didn't teach me to rely on nobody. I just get the pen and vent to myself, mommy gang. Niggas stay crossing lines and stepping on cracks. That's why mommy stay bending over backwards. Defending her people all day, but inside still considers herself a coward. The world too bitter. Sometimes it turns to sweet as mommy's sour. And then the world becomes judgmental and tears mommies down and waits till they die to give them the flowers. Love doesn't come to those that get their love so easily. Mommy's got to brush that shit off, dunk in the water to deal with the baby's hair, even though they don't want to get done so greasily. This is a poem for mommies out here with no jobs. This is a poem for mommies who take care of the niggas where they live. This is a poem for the mommies who swallow their pain. It's a cancer now. This is a poem for the mommies who gave their last to see someone else make it. They good, but she broke now. This is the poem for the mommies dying inside every day, but they homies describe them as lighthearted and happy. This is the poem for the mommies who can't balance the workout with a daddy. This is a poem for the mommies who go to the doctors that are supposed to bring babies into this life, but the doctors end up taking life away. This is the poem for the mommies losing their light because they always forced to be the lightest part of somebody else's day. Fuck it. If they said something, who would care anyway? Black mommies don't take their own hurt seriously. They are a reflection of the world that way. They don't die of heart complications. They die of heartbreak. A poem for mama. Thank you very much, Nia. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Taylor, for keeping it real and for sharing your craft with all of us. I do appreciate you putting your information in the chat. I know back when we could gather, it was such an experience being able to join you in Second Mondays. And I know the work that you're doing with Gold Beams and with Mod and the whole team is absolutely incredible, creating more spaces for Black creatives and artists to express themselves. So thank you for all the work that you do. So to continue our evening, we still have more of our open mic readers to close us out this evening. And so I would like to welcome up Jazav Najea up to the mic. Welcome.
Hello. So my name is Jovina Gia. This is probably I think this is my second time being in this space and my first time sharing. So it's been lovely listening to what everyone has had to say. Good job, Taylor. I love you. You did so good. And I'm gonna share one piece. So it's actually a response to a prompt. And the prompt is, imagine that the darkness is afraid of you. Why? So this is what I had to say. I wonder if the dark is afraid of me because we are one and the same. When I enter, darkness can no longer tell the difference between me and herself. I wonder if darkness is afraid of herself, afraid to see herself. Maybe I'm a mirror for her. Darkness is afraid of me for my eyes, for the secrets they hold but do not share, for the memories that rest in my stare from generations ago, for my eyes are not mine alone. My eyes make darkness remember all of the atrocities committed in her belly. My eyes and the memories of violence, capture, abuse, pain, and sorrow be a trigger for her. Darkness is afraid of me for my ears, for the truths I've heard she thought only she knew, for the lies that were whispered in our presence that she hoped to forget. Darkness knows that my silence is more knowing than she is comfortable with. Darkness remembers me from my childhood, from the tears I shed in her presence. See, darkness is afraid of me for all of the things I remember. Because in this remembrance, darkness is no longer a distant, creepy, consuming force many portray her to be. Instead, she realized that I know her to be an age-old presence that has been abused and scarred with the dirty deeds of humanity. I know her to be the one who listened to my worries without judgment. So with me, darkness cannot hide behind the fears, perceptions, and projections of others. Instead, she is bare in front of me, and she does not know this feeling often. Darkness is afraid of me because I see her for who she really is, a presence who has carried weight that is not her own, held the fears and insecurities of others in her chest, and forgotten just how divine and necessary she is. Darkness is afraid of me, for I remind her of herself, just how dark and lovely she is. And darkness has done the same for me. I remind her to let go of the labels placed on her out of fear of the unknown. I remind darkness to explore herself, the hidden pockets that no one seems to find. I remind darkness to look at herself fully and with all attention on who she is and not what the world claims her to be. And how clear it is after this written journey that darkness and I really are one and the same. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that beautiful piece. And I'm so excited to have you in this space. Thank you. Next up to the mic, we have Normatics. Welcome up, Norm.
Hey, good evening. And the voices coming out of our people this evening, tremendous, tremendous. I got two pieces. This first piece is very, very new. I finished it just before we started here. Doesn't have a name. The ocean we are drowning in, the tip of an iceberg, treading water with a white supremacy patriarchal yoke lounging across my shoulders. Choking on undertow is getting easier to I can't breathe in here. Bias flavored water poured through a charcoal filter. How long will it take to be fed up? These are the word problems we try to resolve in my math class. No answers, just actions. This other piece is inspired by a line in Paul Robeson by Gwendolyn Brooks. The title is The Hot Grid of the Day. Tired sandals cross a dirt path. Red dust stains my teeth. I hear your song like running water, quenching a parched throat. The sound of percolating hot springs triggers memories, laying submerged, dissolving struggle and tension, body and water becoming soup. The voice of water rushing, the incessant wave of roars announcing her arrival, and the whispered hush of her recession. The smell of her wafting up through the canopy like wisps of tree dreams, a trickle sliding through the rocks, dying in the mouth of silence. Peace.
Thank you so much, Norm. It's exciting hearing that new piece, and I'm literally always impressed when people come to this space and say, oh, I just wrote this right before the event, and then share such an incredible poem or their words. So thank you so much, Norm. Next up to the mic, we have Paul Notice. Welcome, Paul.
Hey, hello, happy to be here. Also, I'm just gonna jump off of Norm. Thank you so much, Norm, for saying that out loud, because I definitely just did the same thing. I just wrote it right before. I was like, oh, I'm not gonna do this, but thank you for giving me that. I appreciate that. Yeah, I just wrote this just before. I don't really write a lot of poetry these days, so I'm really happy to kind of jump back into it. So I only have one poem, and then I'll leave the rest to everybody. All right, here we go. This one is called Picture the Future. Picture melanin in power, not like 50 Cent's bootleg of the millennial rendition of Walter's Racing in the Sun, but what do we do with dreams that don't explode? Picture melanin in power. Picture blackness normalized. Picture 5 heartbeats on Broadway. Michelle and Gail chatting in line to Ben's Chili Bowl. One go-go song playing for hours on the radio, followed by another, doused in mumbo sauce. Vegan chopped cheese, but made with seasoning. Picture the EPA headquarters in Detroit. The reverse gentrification of my childhood daydreams, a little Boab on every corner, a busboys and poet franchise like Starbucks, but lacking the cops that show up on young bucks planning startups. And when you look up and see that the CEO down to the manager is black like you and me, well, damn. Picture melanin and power. Frame the dream like this. When one of the neighborhood kids makes off with Mr. Williams' money trees, when one of the neighborhood kids makes off with one of Mr. Williams' money trees, he ain't shot. The peace officer just makes him return it with a written apology and a weekend of volunteering at the shop. Picture melanin in power. Johnson & Johnson gets bought out by Johnson & Johnson. That is Robert and Magic. Digital Susus making IPOs with VC money, Bitcoin ATMs in barbershops, Bantu knots in boardrooms, coding with cornrows and no shame but pride. Picture melanin in power. Paint the Senate with color. Picture DC statehood, Puerto Rican statehood, and statehood for the 16 other US territories dominated by melanin and a lack of representation. First Nation congressional members, universal voting, universal healthcare, universal income, universal change. Dream of worlds that have never been, but dream of worlds we know we deserve. Picture melanin and power. Thank you. So that's my little poem I just made up on the spot. Appreciate y'all. Oh, I see the snaps. All right, I appreciate that. Yeah, all right, feeling Zoom. Okay. Anyway, so I'm a director. I'm gonna go ahead and do a little humble brag here. I'm a little Emmy award-winning director, and I'm making my first feature film. So if y'all want to check that out, I have to just say it real quick. But if y'all want to check that out, it's an Afrofuturist film. This is what the whole poem was based on, which is me trying to like think of what's blah blah. So I write the little link in the thing below, but that's it. Thank y'all for joining me. I appreciate y'all for listening to my poem.
Thank you so much, Paul, for sharing that poem. Again, blown away by the fact that you just wrote that right before. And I think as someone who's seen the trailer for this film, I really encourage you to please put that in the chat to spread it with everyone. And I think that's a great way to promote the film as well, the poem that you just wrote. So thank you.
Right? I just stopped on the spot. Thank you.
Thank you. That was incredible.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Next up, we have Raymond Nat Turner. Welcome, Raymond.
Hey, Nia. Thank you. And greetings to all the peoples, the lovely peoples. I have two pieces. They're kind of companion poems, if you will. The first is called Pusher Men. I turn my head away to hide helpless tears, watching you shoot up in a voting booth every 4 years. I've watched you melt Slick Willie's saxophone and shades down in your cooker and inject the image into your vein. I've watched you nod out for 8 years after shooting the Drone Rangers' high fructose corn syrup slogans, Si se puede, yes we can, and bottle Jim Jones juice for regime change you can believe in. And yes, I watched you happy dance on ice like a lap dancer hanging from his warhead. Powerless, I've averted my eyes from the gore lining your arm. I know the needle's power over you, its power to carry you away. I saw you sell Palestinians, Afghan, Pakistani, Iraqi, Libyan, and Somali babies for your fix. And ashamed, I distance myself from you and your addiction. Now, old Black Schmo and Lady Blue are tying you off with Dark Winter. And I know the needle's power over you. But this time I promise not to abandon you, not to give up on you. I promise to try and try and try to get you help. A 12-step program where all you have to lose is your chains. And the next piece is called Power of the People. You didn't wait for decades of debate, morphing cries from the streets into talk in the suites, so-called corridors of power. Way out of tune, out of sync with, at odds with needs of the people. No, you pull neighbors from Katrina's oily lament, her toxic tears to tables where water waited with food, without obstacles, stumbling blocks, smoke screens from long-winded ones. You pulled down slavers' syphilitic statues in days without waiting in decades of soft brown piles of politicians' promises. You rid innocent poles of bloody rags in merely minutes without waiting on gas bags, huffing and puffing in talk shops till the wee hours. You made racist mascots go bye-bye without white supremacist justices, sleazy senators, or corrupt Congress members in corporate war paint mixed from the alcohol, protocol, and geritol fueling capitalist hill. You got Blue Klux Klansmen arrested, charged, or fired without weaponized words, stun gun sermons, or rubber bullet eulogies of the bought and bossed. You mostly unshackled our imaginations, freed our dreams, and bought us a tiny bit of time and ounce of hope at a very, very high price on the Black market.
Great. Thank you so much, Raymond, for both of those pieces.
Yeah.
Always have the timely commentary. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're gonna try Yusuf's mic to see if it's back online. So Yusuf.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Ooh, I sure hear you.
Third time's the charm.
All right, let me find my little work. Okay, wait a minute. All right, you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Now I can't hear you.
Yeah, if you're talking right now we can't hear you. Oh, it looks like he's reconnecting. Let's see.
Let me try again.
Okay.
Okay. All right. This piece is called Seventh Day. It's based on when my cat passed away. I was acutely aware of her breathing as she entered the living room. I laid on the couch in a wide awake sleep like a dream and endured pussy purring every inhalation. I heard her scroll to the open window. Robins in the tree held her with cherubic singing. And Amy greeted with melange fragrances of meows. A quartet of three birds and feline harmony, like kingdom had come. The jubilee rejoiced, I think, a week. I faded to the couch's skin, refused to awake. Amy bounced on me seventh day, sundown. Nosed my face, sniffed my nostrils, scratch where I was buried, hummed a gentle, haunting, hearty hymn, then wailed like a widow till her throat waned. Now I'm gonna do a piece called Tongue. The strings of mouths fiddle the affairs of others. Ears gluttonous for gossip spray on the winds of scandals, to rain ruin on a flame mind that flee in the streets to ignite chaos. Tongues drop bombs to break bones and topple honor. Homes demolished by incendiary phantom flames. Homicides and fratricides, fruit like serpents mating. Lips march lies, truths, and half-truths to plunder hearts of reason. Teeth rot from the stench that seeps through jasmine fragrance. Serenity enchained by mouths jammed with slop. And that's Tongue, and thank you for your patience.
Thank you so much, Yusuf, for both of those pieces. I'm glad we got to hear your poetry tonight. Thank you. So to close us out this evening, I would like to invite Yeva Johnson up to the mic. Welcome, Yeva.
Thank you so much, Nia. I'm really happy to be here and enjoyed this. I want to let you know, offer thanks also to the BIPOC writing community of writers, Ellen Bass and Patricia Smith for either help creating these two poems or revising them. And it's the end of the year, so I feel nostalgic. So I'm bringing you old poems. And I also have to thank Jobim. So I have a little music before and after, like I usually do. Okay. Saudades. After Nova Jazzes from Love. A beautiful new bossa nova transports me instantly to Itaparica, young, robust, both anterior cruciate ligaments intact, no arthritis, still in college. I took a cheap boat ride with friends to this island getaway off the coast of Bahia. We strolled past Club Med's beach to a secluded inlet. In those days, all of Brazil's shoreline was public property. At the water's edge, I stripped off my clothes and submerged briefly to staunch the scorching. Kissed by Iemanjá, the sea goddess, I emerged dripping with salty water, flashing golden on my newly dark mahogany tan. It was a perfect day at the start of an 8-month stay. Now, 30 years later, a band and some bards perform at the Bird and Beckett bookstore. Kay says she doesn't like poetry. She just came for the jazz. But I think as the first saxophone notes wash over me and that drummer's samba rhythm jiggles my feet and loosens my hips from their sockets, poetry is beep, bop, muddy, bum, muddy, ever evanescent. I am at the sea, sparkling with sun or salt, and at the cusp of old age, chair dancing next to Kay, simultaneous cool. Nova Jazz, grupo legal, tight. And this is Rivers of Mitochondria. Just outside of downtown Hattiesburg, it was late August and way too hot to birth a baby. But after a push and a moan, at about 6 o'clock in the bronze morning, she emerged drenched, descended from a long, long, long line of mothers stretching back to unknown parts along the Trail of Tears and across the Atlantic. And one could imagine a sort of reverse drowning, envision her being sucked backwards at high speed through an inverted middle passage along aquamarine ocean floors. She would arrive in the motherland, where in all her nutmeg glory, she knew her lost tongue, where her people came from, the way back home. But this was late August, so she only has Thelonious Monk to tinkle the ivories so sweetly, it makes her hungry for grits, hot cornbread, and collard greens and mustards. And what really sustains her? The sweet potato. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yeva, for your music and your poetry. That first piece truly transported me. I have my own wonderful memories of being on that island of Itaparica and Bahia. So thank you so much for reminding me of that. It's wonderful to have you in this space. And I want to thank all of the wonderful performers today for really bringing and uplifting this space with such a range of poetry and music. And it really makes me happy being able to facilitate this space, but truly it's a creation of all of you in this space and all of you who come every other week to listen and support all of these talented creatives. And so, again, I just want to close out by thanking everyone. This series has grown so much over the last 2.5 years. It's truly wonderful being able to kind of adapt to the virtual space, but also invite more folks into the room who otherwise wouldn't be here if we were only grounded to a physical space. So it's really great to see folks from all the coasts, to have folks outside of the country joining us at these events. And so I encourage you all to keep coming. The open mic is usually every 2 weeks. We're gonna take an extra week off for the holidays and we'll resume again in January, on January 7th. And Lynn Patterson will be our feature. And so I'm gonna put the event in the chat. I invite all of you to come and support, bring some new pieces, bring some old pieces. And so we can continue sharing in this space. This series is just one of many series that Moad hosts. And so I encourage you to continue attending and supporting. If you are able to financially support, we do appreciate that. Elizabeth's sharing on the screen an easy way to donate. You can donate via our website, which is moadsf.org, or you can use your phone and text the number 56512 and type MOAD-SF. And also creating these events, we do love to hear your feedback, just so we can know how to keep supporting our communities. And so if you do have just a couple minutes, please fill out the program survey that is also in the chat. And I invite you all, you can unmute on your way out of the Zoom room, and I hope you all have a safe and wonderful rest of the year. And I look forward to seeing you all in the new year at our next open mic. Thank you.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Bye. Good night.
Good night, y'all.
Night.
Thanks, everyone.